Decoding the mystery of the Mayans and breaking the Maya code. The Mayan civilization flourished from 250 to 900 AD in what is now Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize, where their descendants, 8 million Maya Indians, still live today. And while Britain languished in the Dark Ages, the Maya inhabited vast cities with populations of up to 100,000 and constructed stone pyramids as high as 200 feet. They left behind stone carvings featuring strange hieroglyphics and had thousands of books, of which only 4 survive. Professor Coe writes about 500-year struggle to interpret their symbols. It's a thrilling story of academic rivalry, bigotry, and, wait for it, penis perforation. Perhaps the biggest mystery is why it took so long. In the 1820s, a young Frenchman, Jean-François Champollion, cracked the secret of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in just 2 years. He realized the symbols were mainly phonetic, that is, they represented speech sounds and were a form of writing. He was fortunate to have the recently discovered Rosetta Stone, featuring the same in hieroglyphics in Greek, to help him. So if you knew ancient Greek, then that way you could also interpret the hieroglyphics of the ancient Egyptian. He also currently presumed that sounds and syntax would be similar to the Coptic, the modern language descended from that of the pharaohs. Amazingly, in spite of Champollion's example, almost nobody did this with the Mayan glyphs. Diego de Landa, who was appointed Bishop of Yucatan, Mexico in 1547, produced what he called the alphabet of Maya glyphs with their corresponding letters. And this was the key to understanding the writing. But Landa's mistake was to think of it as an alphabet, when what the symbols actually represented were not letters but syllables. And other than unhelpful thing he did was to burn, out of religious zeal, all the Maya books, believing they contained devil worship. His work was lost until the 19th century, when his error was repeated and attempted hieroglyphic translations produced laughable results, discrediting any talk of phonetic interpretation. But interest in the Maya grew, and expeditions produced more drawings and photographs of inscriptions. In the 30s, Maya studies became dominant by Eric Thompson, an upper middle-class Englishman. And in the 30s, Maya studies became dominant that way. He was a fine scholar who made important breakthroughs, especially about numbers and dates, but he held rigidly to the view that the hieroglyphs were pictorial and decorative, and that the Maya had no writing system. He put down opponents with such derision that few dared challenge his view. Thompson imagined the Maya as an empire of peaceful people ruled by mystical priests, not unlike the Anglican Church. This view persisted until 1952, when a 30-year-old Russian ethnologist, Yuri Valentinovich Knorosov, working alone, published out of the blue an article that would lead to the cracking of the Maya script. Actually, in 1952, he was Ukrainian, though. At that time, it was the USSR, as we know. Now, with his knowledge of Japanese, Chinese, and Champollion's work, he deciphered a number of glyph symbols. He showed that Maya writing was typically hieroglyphic and could be read just as ancient Egyptian could be read. Thompson replied with a vicious attack, fueled by his virulent anti-communism, but the genie was out of the bottle, and over the past half-century, especially since Thompson's death in 1975, work by linguists has intensified so that today most scripts can be read. And with the interpretation has come new understanding of Maya civilization. They had a sophisticated knowledge of mathematics and astronomy. Far from being merely decorative, their carvings record their history in precise detail. This was no empire of peaceful priests, but a series of independent city-states ruled by often warlike leaders with a vast mythology of gods to whom they paid tribute in blood rituals. Can you imagine? And these included the sacrifice of captives by torture and beheading, and the practice of the rulers assisted by their wives perforating their own penises with bloodletting fashioned for stingray spines, and thanks to dogged scholarly persistence, Maya carvings prove to be not merely decorative but intricate historical records. Through these once incomprehensible symbols, we now know the names and stories of these strange people speaking to us at last from a millennium ago. So, they have basically used this to break the Mayan code. And this is by John Harding from Mail Online. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.